Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 10 of the troll video. In this video, we're making the overalls. So grab your crochet hook and let's get started. Alright, row 1 is chain 46. So make your slip knot. Yarn over and pull through 46 times. There's my chain of 46. Now starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to single crochet across the chain. So there's the first chain. We're going to skip that one and we're starting in the second one. So sometimes when people are doing chains, working cross chains, they'll just go through the one loop because it's a bit easier. But I find if you go through and you make sure you have 2 loops of that chain on top of your hook and 1 loop of that chain on the bottom, it'll make a stronger foundation chain. So go through, grab your yarn and pull it through. Now we just need to hold this bit underneath the hook, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. And there was a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and you can see the chain we just worked in will have the bigger loop. So now we need to get into the next one. Pushing through, and I have 2 loops of that chain on top and 1 loop of that chain on the bottom. Now grabbing that little bit of yarn there to hang on, and pull through. Yarn over and pull through. So you can see the one we just worked has a bigger loop. So you want to make sure you're getting into the next one. I'll do a couple more with you and then I'll leave you on your own. It gets easier. I think the first couple are a little bit more awkward to hang on to. Once you get started, it gets a little bit easier. Okay, I'll do one more with you and then we'll leave you on your own. See that big loop there? We just worked that one. So we want to make sure we're getting into the next one. 2 loops of that chain on top and 1 loop of that chain on the bottom. Alright, I will let you be on your own, and I will meet you back here when we're ready to put in the last single crochet. So when we're ready to work the last chain, we'll meet back here and I'll show you what that looks like. I've just made it to my last chain, and I'm going to put my final single crochet into that last chain. And there's the end of row 2, and now we have 45 stitches across. We started with 46, but because we began in the second chain from the hook, we lost one of those stitches. So now we have 45 across, and of course you can do a stitch count if you'd like to. You just pull out your last stitch so you don't lose it. And the first one to count is underneath that big loop, and they look like the V's. You just count the V's across. So there's stitch 1, and then at the very end, there's the last one. Row 3 to 6 is 1 half double crochet in each one of those 45 stitches for 4 rows. So don't worry, I'm going to do these with you. We're going to chain 2 before we turn. So 1 and 2. Now we put 1 half double crochet in each one of those 45 stitches across. We're going to skip that chain we just made. We're not going into those. We're going to go into the first stitch of the row, which is right here. When you make a half double crochet, you yarn over before going in. So yarn over, go in, making sure that you're going through both loops of your stitch every time you go through. Grab your yarn, pull it through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So for the remaining stitches, we're just going to yarn over and go in. We're not chaining. So yarn over and go into that next stitch. Pull the yarn through. You have 3 loops. Yarn over and pull through. And there was our second half double crochet. Yarn over. You have 3 loops, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. And there was our third. Yarn over. And there's our fourth. I'll do 5 with you. Yarn over. And there was our fifth. Okay, you're going to continue doing that all the way across. You can see the stitch holes here. And if you turn it toward you, you can see the tops of the stitches, which are those V's. Okay, I'm going to continue on with the pattern. I'll meet you back here when we're ready to put in our last half double crochet. Alright, just got to my last stitch of row 3, and I'm going to go into that last one. You can see it dips down a little bit, so make sure that you're going through both loops. It's very easy to pick up just one, then the end of your piece will start looking funny if you do that too many times. So yarn over and going through, I go through both loops of that stitch. And there we go, at the end of row 3, and we still have 45 stitches across. Chain 2 and turn. Now we're going to repeat the last row, 1 half double crochet in each one of those 45 stitches. Remember to yarn over, and we're skipping that chain we just made. You can see the stitch holes there. I'll do 5 with you, and then I'll leave you on your own. There was 1. 2. 3. 4. And 5. Alright guys, I'm going to leave you on your own, and I'll meet you back here when we're ready to put in our last stitch. I'm going to do it that way just so you can see what it looks like when you get to the end. I'll continue with the pattern. I'll meet you back here at the end of the row. Just coming to the end of row 4, I'm going to yarn over and go through, making sure I'm picking up both loops of that stitch. And there we go, at the end of row 4, and we still have 45 stitches across. Ready for row 5, chain 2 and turn. Remember to skip that chain, and your first stitch is right here. And there's the stitch holes. 1 half double crochet in each one of those 45 stitches across. Alright guys, I'll leave you on your own now. So we're working on row 5. Once you get to the end of this row, chain 2 and turn, and do 1 more row. So we have 2 more rows to finish here. We are working on row 5, and I'll meet you back here at the end of row 6. At the end of row 6, now we're going to chain 1 and turn. In this row we're going to do 1 single crochet across. So no need to yarn over, just skip that first chain that you made. 1 single crochet across. 1 single crochet in each one of those 45 stitches. I'll continue on with the pattern. I'll meet you back here at the end of this row. Alright guys, we're at the end of row 7, and now we're going to bring the pieces together, the ends together, and we're going to single crochet through both sides to sew up that edge closed. And before we go in for the first time, it might be easier to chain 1. Just gives it a little bit of workable space there. So we want to go bring our hook back and go through the very top edge. We're not going through stitches because there's no stitches to go through. We're just going through spaces. Okay, grab your yarn, pull it through, and single crochet. And now we're going to push through spaces all down the edge. And so we don't have to weave in this yarn tail, this starting yarn tail in the end. So just hold it along the edge, just like that. And we're going to crochet around it. If you find it too awkward, don't worry, you can weave it in at the end. It'll just save us some time. Just pushing through spaces. And now we can finish off. Now we can just cut the first yarn tail free. We're going to weave in this one to hide it. I'm just going to bring it right through. Just bring it through. Okay, now we can cut free. Now we're going to turn these. And this is the back end of the overalls. And this is the front end. Now we're going to make the little bib on the front. And it's very easy to do. We're going to just crochet it right onto the piece. Okay, so there's going to be a bottom edge and a top edge. We want to work on the top edge where you can see those stitches. See the V's? I can see the V's of the stitches there, and you can't see them down here. It wouldn't matter, but I want to count 10 stitches, so I just want you to find the top edge where you can count those stitches. And where we join the edges together, make that in the very center. So we want to put 10 stitches across here. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to insert my hook right here. Okay, I'm going to pull my yarn through, hold that starting yarn tail, and make it a little bit longer so you can sew it in when you're done. Hold it with your finger, get ready to crochet on, and then switch fingers. Chain 1, and then put single crochet into the next 10 stitches. 1, now you can let go of that yarn tail in the back. 2, 3, 9, and 10. Alright, so there's the foundation of our little bib. Now we're going to chain 2 and turn. And now skipping that chain, we're going to put a half double crochet in the next 10 stitches. So there's the first one there. Skip that chain you just made. There's 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10. Now chain 2 and turn. And now 1 half double crochet in each one of those 10 stitches. Skip that chain that you made. I'll continue on and I'll meet you back here at the end of this row. Alright, now we're done and we can finish off. Leave a yarn tail. We're going to use it for sewing on one of the straps. So I'm going to pull that yarn tail through that loop and pull it tight. We can weave in this other one to get rid of it. So weave in the starting yarn tail, but leave the finishing yarn tail. Now we're going to make the straps, and you make 2 of these, and we start with a chain of 26. Make your slip knot, yarn over and pull through 26 times. Alright, there's my chain of 26. And now starting in the second chain from the hook, there's the first chain. Starting in the second one, we're going to put a single crochet across the chain. So remember, just like in the overalls I just showed you, the bigger loop is the one you just worked. You want to make sure you're getting into the next one. And when you go through, you have 2 loops of that chain on top of your hook and 1 loop on the bottom. One single crochet across, and I'll meet you here on the other side. Just finished row 2. Now I'm going to finish off. Pull the yarn tail through that loop and pull it tight. Weave in the shorter yarn tail. We'll use the longer one to sew one end of the strap to the overalls, but you can weave in the shorter one to get rid of it. The reason why we weave them in and not cut them short is because they will eventually, if you cut it up shorter, that knot's going to break free and then you end up with a hole in your stuffy and things will fall apart. So we want to keep the string there, we just want to get it out of sight. I weaved up and now I'm weaving down. Alright guys, we're going to end the video here because it's getting kind of long. Don't sew the straps on yet. We're going to actually assemble the overalls in the next video. So you're going to need to grab the feet that you made and head over to the next video, and I'll meet you over there.